Well, let's call the meeting to order and do a quick roll call. Michael O'Neill joining.
Chris Hunter here.
Chris, yeah, Chris. Byron.
Byron from Valley Bank.
Stephanie
Hi, Stephanie from Farmer State Bank.
and Riley.
Hello, Riley from Slayer Architecture.
Okay. And Kara, you said that Rachel may or may not be with us, right?
Yep, she said she might be a little late and possibly might not be able to make it to today's meeting. And then I did
Okay.
just email John a few minutes ago and as a reminder that we're on
Okay.
for this afternoon.
Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna cell phone number, but no. Alrighty, let's begin with the agenda. We've approved the minutes from the October meeting that came out with the meeting notice. Would welcome a motion to adopt.
This is Byron. I'll move to approve them.
Alrighty, do we have a second?
I'll second, Chris.
Chris, alrighty. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Against, the same? All right, very good. All right, we'll start with our first regular item. We have the update on the first application and review of application evaluation meeting schedule. What do we know at this point, Kara?
Well, I guess some good news and some bad news right now as far as well, I guess it depends on how you interpret the news, but we haven't had as much interest as I would have hoped for in this round. And I think did a few calls over the last week or so and kind of just checking in with people that I assume would be applying for this fund at one point or another. But the one project that I was very positive was going to be making an application for this fund for this round actually got their main funding source pulled just maybe, I don't know when, maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when the tax credit applications got selected.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a bummer to hear about.
Yeah.
And then we do have a couple people who just this week have contacted me. And one of them, I don't know that will be a application anytime soon, maybe, I don't know, maybe not even in this coming March. But they are interested in developing a transitional shelter kind of in addition to what God's Love offers, a separate entity, separate service. But they're really interested in trying to build a funding stack. And then we had another entity approach me yesterday, and they're, I think, more in the interested in providing or building on a kind of a consumer housing service. I think kind of like some rental assistance, kind of guessing there because they didn't give me a lot of information. But I do think we'll see an application come in from them. So we'll see. They do have a little bit
What
of
kind
time
of
here.
application are you saying? A rent
So,
assistance?
and I that's what I think it might end up being, would be like to leverage current rental assistance. I'm not positive what that would look like.
What
I
does
guess,
that
but
mean?
well, there's rental assistance being provided by this, well, not even rental assistance, I shouldn't say that. It would be like some educational programming, and then to help potential future renters offset costs like application fees and.
But that's not what this fund's for, is it?
Well, no, I mean, it's
No, yeah.
not. So that's part of this
Okay.
conversation. I'm hoping that
Yeah.
we get some more information to kind of guide this a little bit further, but we'll
Okay.
see. So that's kind of where we're at now.
So we are, at this point, we don't know if we'll have any applications.
No, currently,
Yeah.
yep, that's
Yeah.
accurate. No
that-
eligible applications, I should say that.
I know as like, our needs here, we're kind of in that same boat where, putting things together would be premature. I think a lot of
Mhm.
folks kind of, it has a little bit of reflection on where you want to go in. Is this kind of we're kind of encouraging people, this being the final piece. And
Right.
So,
Eh,
and
that's
that's
kind of-
always the question. And then we may, yeah. I mean, part of it, we do give people time to for progress. And so we'll see what comes forward. Comes
Yep.
forward.
That's one of
I-
the last conversations I'd had with Andrew, who, helped really did develop these guidelines. Is his thought was that it would be very feasible that an organization might come and apply for this, and with the idea that they will get other pieces of their funding stacked together, and just hoping, with these other like LIHTC or home or whatever that might be. And if that didn't come through, like in the case of this organization, had they already applied and then their LIHTC funding didn't come through, they could always just turn down this funding source if the commission did and you guys did choose to recommend it. But chances are, like you said, Michael, it would be kind of the last piece of funding, not in the middle or the beginning of
Yeah.
a funding plan.
But I guess if they put together a fully developed implementation schedule, including deadlines, applications that anticipated, we could look at something coming in first. Of course, there'd be no release of these funds until the full deal was together.
Yep.
Hmm.
And then, so I guess from right now, as far as like planning for our December meeting, I'm really, I guess, kind of delaying on that part of this agenda item, just thinking that whether we get one application in, zero applications, or, maybe things will take a turn and we'll get a couple in. But if you all don't mind, I was going to wait till tomorrow just to kind of make that final decision, and then can email you all an update to as to what that December meeting might look like.
And I actually caught wind, I believe, of one that has approached our office that will probably have to recuse myself for, but I am aware of, I believe, just a small like duplex renovation that, like I said, some other people in our offices have been eyeballing this trust fund to attempt to pay for it. So I know they've already started the application. I do not know where they are in it.
Oh, okay.
So I am aware of one that at least our office is looking at.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I haven't heard of that.
I think it's just down on Elm Street. It's a small duplex, I think, is what he's eyeballing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't know what kind of, if you have like a relationship with the person, but if you felt comfortable telling them to reach out, I'd love to chat with them, or
Sure,
obviously we don't-
actually, I'm actually a little surprised to hear that you that there's been limited interest in it, because I know he's been looking at it since they announced it. So I will actually tell him to reach out to you to at least get that conversation going, if that hasn't already started.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess when I say limited interest, I mean, I think there's a ton of interest in this, but the timing of this particular round is a little odd. And I think like one of the people I talked to was like, yeah, March is going to line up really well for the construction season in 2023 for us. Like it's going to, like, that is probably what's going to like push a project over the line in the summer of 2023. But it's, I don't know. I mean, Andrew said not to expect a single application this round, and that, every round you kind of build on what you had before, but yeah, we'll see.
So just so that we're prepared, we had talked about being ready for a longer meeting. So,
Yep, and
and
so
what
that's
date
kind of,
is, what is the date of the,
so the review meeting would be December 14th. And what we decided at our last meeting was that should we have applications where enough applications where we think that hour and a half won't suffice, then we were going to set aside kind of 1 to 4 on the 14th, and then that same time period on the 16th. And then do kind of have the meeting structured with NeighborWorks Montana presenting the underwriting review and then the applicant presenting their project. And then so that's what the 14th would be reserved for, and then the 16th would be reserved for discussion and recommendations.
okay. I would just, if people could just put that on your calendar.
And I had volunteered to send out kind of a expanded meeting invite for those timeframes, and I'm happy to still do that. I had hesitated, just not knowing, kind of feeling like maybe things were going to go the other direction and it may not be necessary, but if that's helpful, I can go ahead and send out meeting invites for those
Well, let's-
timeframes.
Is everyone comfortable waiting until close of? It closes
Tomorrow at 5.
tomorrow, right, at
Mhm.
5. Yeah, and then. So, and then we can decide, just as long as people have placeholders on the 14th and the 16th, we can decide based on what our actual response is.
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty. Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
The only other
Alrighty,
thing in regards to that item, and I might be jumping the gun here a little bit, but I'm hoping kind of, and we don't need to do this at this meeting necessarily, but just thinking, should we be in a position where we don't have applications come in? I would love to get kind of just like some recommendations from all of you about kind of how to handle that. And I think this is just a little bit of a different round, being that it's our first and a bit of a guinea pig here, but I do think that I'll probably be going to the commission either way. And it would be helpful, I think, if we're in a position where we don't have applications, to just say, the advisory board might recommend, like, I don't know, extending the application deadline in the future, or perhaps the application contents are too rigorous, or I don't know. So something to think about.
I think it would be premature to. I think it's more of a timing thing, because I know, like, if we were to come forward at this stage, it would be premature in our process, and we have $100 million worth of development to do.
Yeah.
So, and there's other, large projects that are in the pipeline. It's just a matter of when they'll come forward.
Sure.
So, I mean, we'll just see. And then, part of our process is maybe looking at some of these and then giving guidance on where, where there might be another source of funding, say that rehab idea. I'm not sure what exactly is part of that, but that would be an eligible activity in the current rehab project, right? You do duplexes.
Yeah, are you talking about like kind of combining it with our home renewal program?
Well, the home renewal program, you would be allowed up to 4 plexes, right? In that.
Correct.
So, I mean, the
As long
key
as
is the thing to keep in mind for this is a very limited source of funds. local funds, and the reasons you think of the local funds coming in last. And in reality is no funds are released until everything, the whole package together. So they can apply first here, but the idea is that it's kind of like a gap filler. And that we don't want it to, if there is, say, federal dollars, like available through the current rehab program, that should go out the door. We should be using those funds as much as possible and maximizing them. So, and that's kind of why you've encouraged people to kind of come to you a little bit and get some guidance. So, and it will just take time for people to know this is out there. We think that, we've been working on it for a long time, but it's not like necessarily it's sunk in. And these days when fewer and fewer people read the newspaper or get any local news, it takes a little bit. But we'll want to communicate and have a communication strategy to both the commission and to the public as to, this isn't a sign that there isn't a need for housing, and it isn't a sign that there aren't projects out there. It's just a matter of the timing of the application. I think it's very simple. I mean, in terms of it, anyone doing any major project would have the pieces. It's not like a lot of extra work for doing this application, because you already would be putting it together for other primary funding. So.
This is Byron, and I think it's a timing thing too. If there's more activity in the spring, I thought our applications would be more limited at this meeting. Just, it just takes a while for people to know this, and when they're working on projects, it takes the time to put it together. So I think it'll be much more active in March.
Yeah, so if the Housing Solutions project had been awarded tax credits, it would have been right in line, would have fit very nicely into for it. But, some of those other decisions impacted us. Anyway, anything else, Kara, on regular item A?
No, I don't think so. I'll just keep you all updated about how everything ends up tomorrow after the application deadline.
Okay, check your emails then.
Mhm.
And then
Now, what if you get people, parties interested, but they need another 15 days? Would we look at an extension of this application or not then?
Well, and that's, sorry, go ahead,
Yeah.
Michael.
I think in public funding, deadlines have meaning, and I think it's kind of a slippery slope if we start. You can get in a lot of trouble down the road. If, we allow in the first round, we allow someone to miss the deadline. It's hard to enforce a deadline down the road. So,
Well, March isn't that far off.
right. So if we only have one application, I mean, we were kind of trying to separate out our evaluation from our decision meeting. But yeah, let's just see what comes in. What comes in. I think it's often good to separate those two a little bit. And I don't know, from a posting, you'll need to be able to post the meeting. So we'll still plan on having 2 meetings, even if we have just one application.
I actually kind of like that idea, Michael.
Yeah.
If I don't know how everyone else feels, but I think I kind of like that regardless of how many there are.
I think it's a good practice because it allows you to, you evaluate, allows you to reflect. You might come back with, especially I think it shows due diligence and some prudence in spending public money. If we don't just go, oh, yeah, this is great, so we'll need to leave some time on both the 14th and the 16th. All right. Okay, regular item B, Kara, priorities for second application cycle.
Yeah, so this one I'm kind of excited about. Again, a little bit, I guess, kind of in the future, but Chris the development director is really wanting to go in the direction of kind of doing like a calling it kind of like a mini housing needs assessment on more of an annual basis. And so right now, just for context, we have this 2018 housing needs assessment that was done kind of in this more regional. So I think it was Lewis and Clark, Broadwater, and Jefferson County that all came together and created this set of statistics. And then from that, kind of an action plan of how to address some of these housing needs. But you know, the pandemic has happened, and that was, you know, a relatively long time ago anyway. And Chris's idea is to do an annual, just city specific, and perhaps we could make it a little bit broader than that, but for the purposes of, I mean, he's really, I guess, wanting to use it to guide the use of this funding in the future. And so I think it's a real cool idea. I think kind of since I've been here, I've wanted to go back into some of the data that was collected for the housing needs assessment and just kind of keep a running tally of some of that, so we can just have a, just for our own purposes, have some trends to look at. And a lot of that is just pulled from like the American Community Survey or different census things. I think they did a number of different surveys, like more
But the
local
housing-
surveys.
The Housing Task Force has taken that on as a project, right? So,
Yes, so I'm always a little bit fuzzy as how to describe that, but for my own purposes, for the city's purposes, I mean, we're utilizing the Housing Task Force to kind of as a sounding board for our own policies. And then we extracted some of the kind of city specific action items from that housing needs assessment and created our own housing strategy.
mhm.
And so it's certainly, I think, that group, I think, is certainly a wider group than just the city, but it's kind of, I think, more lately, I think, been more just city focused. I don't know if you
Well,
feel
it
differently
ends
about
up
that,
being
but
really, you know, because it is a regional focus, but it was kind of modeled over after something that had been in existence for many years and then kind of went dormant. And the primary purpose of it being rejuvenated was for the housing study. So the housing study, makes sense that that finds a home there, that kind of guides that process a little bit and helps set some priorities. If we get a good turnout there, it's a good group for that. So, but I think it'll make sense that will be good data to provide us here on this committee in terms of that we're not just making our own judgment, that and actually it may be something we include. I think we probably be pointing, I think people will be pointing to things in their applications from just existing housing study.
oh, sure.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, it makes sense in terms of identifying a community priority as that certainly will make us for a stronger application. That if it's addressing one of those needs, and you know, in the existing study, and in the cities, how they used it, I mean, that's what we'd expect to see projects to be. And so if they're kind of far afield from that, that would probably not be necessarily recommended for funding, you know, it's like, but I mean, I don't think this group sets the priority. It really, projects come together for a variety of reasons and timing and all that, but there's a lot of need. And so, and different kinds of needs. So, and that's so it's not a very narrow field, but there's certainly things that would be outside of priority. You know, I don't know, you know, probably we wouldn't, yeah, we'll just see, but I think that will help inform this process. So I think that's a great idea. All righty. Should we just move it along and get people, at this time we'd accept public comment. Not seeing any public with us today. We would invite any communications, meetings of interest, announcements from the board. Not,
No.
I don't think anything. we're busy. So our next meeting is December 14th. And we'll get some word back either tomorrow evening or first thing Friday, and we'll set our meetings, but please reserve time on December 14th and December 16th for a potential meeting. Anything else for the good of the cause? It's nice to have winter this year, so enjoy it. I forgot, it's been so long that we've had snow, skiable snow in November that I was out Sunday up in the mountains and I forgot it was hunting season. So be careful out there. But anyway, have a good one, everybody. I asked, this meeting's adjourned.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kara.
Yeah.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.